What's this got to do with conflict? Well, think of that person now who's on your mind today. Think of somebody that you know and just tune into maybe they have got a primary self that's very similar to yours. So maybe, for example, they're another pusher. Or maybe they're a pleaser. Or maybe they're incredibly responsible. Now, what can happen is sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's also that they carry the absolute opposite of you. So if I have a responsible primary self, a way of being in the world where I'm super responsible and always thinking about everybody else and trying to organize and take over everything, and feel responsible and guilty if I don't do that. If I'm run by that but I don't realize it, then I'm in denial about that part of myself. And when I see somebody else like that, it's going to drive me nuts. I'm thinking, why is she behaving like that? Why doesn't she go over it? So sometimes it's about that person who's exactly like us, but we don't realize that's like us. So if I've got a perfectionist, if I'm incredibly fussy, which I can be, how many people here have got a perfectionist who likes to get things yes? Most people have different perfectionists. Some people have work ones, artistic ones, personality ones, spiritual ones with lots of rules. So there's different sorts of perfectionists. So if I've got a perfectionist that's running me, but I'm not aware of it, which is actually true. I used to think of myself as incredibly laid back and not having a perfectionist. And I had a boss who used to run around. She was fussing over details. She'd invented all these things that we had to read and study and had to do things differently and rewrote the system. That was all fine. But she used to drive me nuts. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this stupid woman? You know, she's so stressed. She never stops. She never rests. And I identified with the opposite of kind of energy of that. I identify with a very kind of being laid back. I'm laid back. I don't get fussy and stressed about things. You know, get over it, woman. Don't you realize how pathetic you look? So I took it on board to think, now, why was she really driving me nuts? And of course, I realized that I had a disowned, so when we're not aware of it, a disowned perfectionist in me. I was, in fact, exactly like her, but I did my utmost to stop other people from seeing that. So I pretended I was really laid back and so on, okay? So that's an example of how somebody can get you going in an opposite way. Sometimes what the other person represents is an energy that is part of their own vulnerability. So, for example, somebody who's very messy and chaotic and untogether. If you've got a perfectionist and a pusher who's kind of in charge of things, somebody like that is going to drive you nuts. They're going to really get to you. And you're going to feel, as all of these selves do, that your way's the right way and they've just got to get it together. So that's the bottom line with this system, is coming to realize that each of these parts of us think that this is the way to be. My pusher thinks the way to be is to soldier on through and get it all done. My being part thinks, who gives a stuff? I'm just going to take a day off. It doesn't matter. So all of these parts have got their own way. So when they clash in another person, then a conflict occurs. So on a deeper level, if you've got something going on with someone where they really, like, no matter how many times you try and work through something with them, yet again, when you see them, they just push your buttons, then this is a fantastic area to investigate. That there could be something about them or something that gets going in you when they're around that triggers that reaction. And it's an automatic reaction. We can't stop it. It's just, boom, there it is. You know, they pick up the phone and they say a certain something and it's like, you're gritting your teeth. Okay. So that's a classic way that conflicts start and conflicts get sustained. And in this game, no one is either right or wrong, but we're on both sides identified with being the one who has it right. Personally, I mean, does anyone here like being right? I mean, I love being right. It's yummy, it's delicious. It's like you don't have to think about them, you just know you're right. So righteousness, when you're in righteousness, like I'm right, in fact, inevitably, you're in a primary self, which means you're identified with a bunch of rules from whichever part of you, and they're more than this. Whichever part of you is running your show, you identify with it, and you've got them over there in the wrong box. So we're completely locked in. How to stop it? There's only one way to stop it, and that's one person has to get out of the box.